Hello fellow emos and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to explore Frank Iero being investigated by the FBI. If you're not already subscribed, then please do hit the subscribe button. I post new videos weekly, and as always, MCR5 2024, it is so happening. It is so on, you just have to believe. Just before we jump into this video, I do want to make it clear that I have no intention of harming the President of the United States. I am simply repeating the title of a song. I know that may be very obvious, but just in case, you know, I'm not an assassin. I am just a My Chemical Romance fangirl. Thank you. And also, yes, words such as unaliving will be used. I hate having to censor my vocabulary, but unfortunately the platform does require me to do it, so don't hate the player, hate the game. Let's go.
Huh?
You don't live in this country, go home.
Wow. You're a Republican, huh?
I love you.
All right.
Before we can talk about Frank being investigated by the FBI, we first need to establish who Frank is. This is just going to be a very brief overview though, as he truly needs no introduction. Frank Anthony Iero Jr. was born on Halloween in 1981 in New Jersey. He is most well known for being a part of My Chemical Romance. Although he's a prolific musician and has been a part of so many bands, this includes but is not limited to Pensy Prep, LS Dunes, Reggie and the Full Effects, and Leathermouth. Fun fact, Frank was arguably My Chemical Romance's first and biggest fan, which is such the title to hold. This is because he wasn't in the band's original lineup, but because he existed within the same scene as them, he knew them from the very beginning, and this led to him recognizing their potential right away and wanting to join the band, which of course ended up happening. And like they say, the rest is history.
Have you read the new Ellen DeGeneres book yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How is it?
It made me a lesbian. I only take girls now.
I can't hang with
I
that.
need to have an open mind, Michael.
This video, however, is not about My Chemical Romance, it's about Leathermouth. So what's Leathermouth? Leathermouth is one of the many bands Frank has been in, and it happens to be my favourite Frank side project. Formed in 2007, Frank once again wasn't a founding member of the band, but he was a fan and wanted to be involved in some way. He told MTV that a couple of his friends who'd already been in other bands were thinking about starting something. They'd already written and made crude recordings of 3 songs, which they played for him in one of their cars one night not long after My Chemical Romance had returned from touring. Frank went on to say, "I was like, wow, this is really good, and from that second I wanted to be a part of it somehow. But I had too much shiz on my hands, so they were like, oh well, we have this friend who's going to try and sing, and we'll see how it rolls from there." And I was like, alright, because I have a label, and I was thinking maybe down the line if it works with the vocals, maybe I can sign it and be involved in that way. My Chemical Romance went on tour again, and after they returned, Frank checked on his mates. I asked, hey, how'd that band go that you guys were working on? And they said, well, they never wrote any lyrics, so we're not going to do it. Frank was stunned. I said, are you kidding me? Give me a week, I'll write some lyrics, we'll rent a practice studio and see what happens. That's how it went down. He wrote all the lyrics in a week, 2 songs on the record. One's called Unaliving, was the case they gave me, and the other's called Body Snatchers Forever. And it was weird, man. I was sitting in my apartment playing the songs and the words kind of came to me, and I was really proud of them too. Leathermouth is a lot heavier than My Chemical Romance, and the lyrics are a lot angrier. Epitaph has this written in their Leathermouth section. Frank Iero has had enough. After years of keeping anger and rage bottled up, he can no longer contain it. In 2007, Iero, guitarist of the hugely popular rock band My Chemical Romance, reached his tipping point and created Leathermouth with Rob Hughes, a friend from Iero's home state of New Jersey. I think there is a void of bands that are outspoken on things that actually matter, explains Iero. There's just too much bad hair and white belts. Sometimes it's nice to turn your brain off and just listen to someone sing about girls. I'm not knocking it. I do think there is a time and place, but Leathermouth isn't like that. It's about hate. If you don't vomit it up, you know it will eventually destroy you. Tired of misdirecting blame in school, mass unalivings with a pew-pew, Over-medicating kids and nefarious politicians, among other things, Iero viciously explodes with pent-up frustration on EXO, spewing his aggression out in a rapid-fire succession. EXO is a call to action with thick, speeding rock riffs inciting listeners with brutal hostility, inculcating a sense of urgency with the controversial track Catch Me If You Can, which likens the NYPD to Jack the Ripper. Sunsets are for muggings, about being robbed of your childhood by substances and therapy, and Fifth Period Massacre, which points the finger at bullying students as the cause of a school mass unaliving with pew-pews. Now, that's a lot, but this description doesn't cover the song that the FBI were interested in, and that song, of course, is I'm Going to Unalive the President of the United States of America.
Yeah, it's great. And then I started to cry.
Let's go over the lyrics of the song. If this is the front line, there's no hope for the world. Devils were raised by effing devils, who've been raised by effing devils, wearing our saviors as skins. How can I believe what you say? Your propaganda BS makes me sick. Unalive fascists make no noise. I'll shed your blood to effing save the world. You're living a lie, straight to hell. If you haven't listened to the song, then you should. Me reading out those lyrics really don't capture how great the song is, nor the vibe of the song, and I don't think there's another song out there with harder opening lyrics than If This Is the Front Line, There's No Hope for the World, because incredible. The anger in those words mixed with Frank's screams make for one hell of a song. Unfortunately though, the FBI didn't agree. Frank told Alt Press in 2009, the government comes to your house, searches everything and talks to your wife for hours, then you have to get a real expensive attorney to keep you out of prison for 5 years. At a long talk with the gentleman of the Secret Service, it was straight up dark suits, sunglasses, men in black vibe. I thought they were going to do the mind erase thing, like in the movie. They said, "Why did you write the song?" I told them the truth. I was on tour overseas with My Chemical Romance at the time, and every time I turned around there was an anti-American rally. I wrote a song from the standpoint of the rest of the world. It wasn't my personal point of view, it was just from someone who's seen warmongering going on. I wrote the song, and the title is as blatant as humanly possible because I wanted it to be that way. The Secret Service asked, "Do you think someone's going to hear the song and unalive the president?" I said, well, if they're going to unalive the president, then they're going to do it without listening to the song. That's like saying everyone who reads Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal is going to eat a baby. They didn't think that was too intelligent, so they said, well, if you re-release the record with the song on it or perform the song live ever again, you'll be arrested. Alt Press went on to write, what's really perplexing about the whole incident is how the agency even learned of the song in the first place. Iero says he's not too sure who it was, but opines that it was a British writer who contacted the Office of Homeland Security looking for a comment. Clearly, Iero could have turned the whole thing into a massively public freedom of speech argument. Now he's just happy the whole thing is behind him. I'm married and I want to have kids, he resigns. I don't want to go to jail for 5 years. The fact that it's a British writer who asked for comment is completely expected. If you're not from the UK, then you might not be aware of how freedom of speech is not a valued trait here and how it's not unusual for people to be arrested for saying things that might be considered distasteful but shouldn't be a crime in my opinion. Remember the guy who was convicted for tweeting that the only good British soldier is an unalive one? Because that happened and fairly recently. Anyway, rant over, just had to sneak that in there, you know me.
It's so fucking hot in here. It's a thin sweater. Don't shut up. You're not my mom.
My Chemical Romance said that Aftermath was secondary, but the same can't be said for Leathermouth.
We have a 30-minute set. The math just doesn't work. Alright, whatever. So, normally, we would play a song called I'm Going to Kill the President of the United States of America. But the U.S. government didn't think it was as funny as I thought it was going to be, and said, okay, well, shut up, hold on. I'm 27 years old, and I've never been locked up in a federal penitentiary. I kind of like that about myself, so I'm not going to play that song today, but you can go home and listen to it. Sorry.
But this is where things get confusing, as Frank stated he wasn't allowed to play or re-release the song. But we know that isn't true, as the song has been played live and released since. However, I think Frank meant that he wasn't allowed to play or release the song without making changes to it first. In 2013, during a live performance, Frank announced that they can tell me what to do, but they can't tell you what to do, before singing modified lyrics. However, due to the quality of the performance, I can't tell what the new lyrics are. However, it is obvious that Frank is singing something different from the audience. In the latest Leathermouth re-release, the song is blanked out on the track listing, although the song is still on the album. It's fair to say that Frank probably did get in trouble with the FBI for the song, and he has been cautious with re-releases and live performances since. However, I don't believe there is a total ban on the song, because Frank surely would have faced some legal consequences by now if that was true. Although we don't have all the details, I suppose only what Frank has shared publicly, although it is pretty clear that he hasn't been to jail for 5 years, you know? And that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much if you made it this far. If you have any topics you'd like me to cover in videos, then please let me know. What do you guys think? What do you think happened behind the scenes with the FBI in this song? And as always, I'll see you guys next week.